We're not saying do this, do that. People have tried, they've come together and tried to come up, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Committees join together, they decide something, and the very moment they go back to the masajid, they change their minds. This is what has happened. Nothing has worked. Rather, the people decided for themselves, okay, let me just see what Makkah's doing, because my heart's attached there. They started doing it. And what is the harm? Now I find out Makkah is doing Taraweeh tonight. I tell my friends, is there anything prohibiting me from doing that? I'm not saying to him he has to start fasting tomorrow, unless I definitely know that's the majority of people, that's what they're doing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to him, Makkah is doing it tonight. Taraweeh tonight, which means Ramadan tomorrow. Automatically the people follow. And that is, if you look around, people have automatically done that without force. People try in their committees, gathering together in their masajid, they try to come to an agreement, and it always flops. As I said, you know the leader? It's the TV, that box. Everyone's got it in their house, everyone wants to know. What's Makkah doing? So yes, in that sense, not classic. But the classic is, for the layman, he does what the Jama'ah is doing. And that's what the Jama'ah in the UK does. And many other places in the world. And the classic opinion is to do what the Hakim does. To do what the Hakim does. Right? Now, when the Hakim is obliged to look for the ru'ya. We know Saudi implements more Sharia than anyone else. So maybe that's another reason why people want to look and see what's going on. We're not obliging that on anyone. That's what they have to do. That's what they're charged to do. And then people, it filters down. You know, we can say and we can argue, we can debate for years and years and years, but people are going to do what they're going to do because there is no Hakim. In Saudi they have a Hakim. In the Muslim lands they have a Hakim. He decides, end of. We do not. Everyone's the Hakim for himself here. So, when you try to impose something, nothing works because you have no authority. People have decided for themselves, and the majority of people, they go with Makkah. So then, if that is the majority, that's what we go with. And if it wasn't the majority, we wouldn't go with it. It's as simple as that. So yes, not classic, but it's been classic now for several years. So khalas. And we're going with the classic opinion, which is the hadith of Tirmidhi and others, Abu Dawud as well, that the fasting is when the people fast, and Yawm al-Eid is when the people celebrate Eid. No.
Regarding the problems people face regarding different calendars, like there may be 5 minutes delay in Fajr, 10 minutes earlier. Now, give us a bit more background.
The brother's mentioning a very important issue, which is the times for Fajr on different calendars are different, and he said 5 minutes, but it could be about half an hour in some of the calendars. For the whole year we've been praying Fajr. Whose timing have we been following? Let's get, the first thing we need to do is get shaitan out of it and desires, whims and desires out of it. Yeah. Before, I get home from work late. If I pray Fajr before I go to sleep, it's good for me, so I'll do that. Now when it comes to Ramadan, you can't start changing. That's just whims and desires, that's haram. Now if I've been going with a particular masjid, accepting their time for Fajr and the rest of it, that's what I should be continuing doing. Because this is a whole huge khilaf about when Fajr actually starts. There's so much calculation involved. No one's actually looking for Fajr, and there's a lot of confusion. Now, whatever I've been doing for the whole year, that is what I should be doing. If I haven't been praying Fajr, then that's a humongous sin. That's a humongous sin. If I haven't, now I'm going to be confused. Okay, that person has not been Fajr. Let him be confused by himself. We've been praying Fajr, alhamdulillah. Whatever time we've been taking, continue with that. Don't change. Because then we open the doors to playing with Allah's Sharia. And we saw it acceptable for the whole year. Now we're not going to see it acceptable. And the person who doubts, is it still Fajr? Is it still Fajr? He can still eat. It's as simple as that. Until he reaches certainty that now it is Fajr, that's when he has to stop. So those who, we have those overcautious people, they're going to take the earliest time and say, right, I think that is the time I'm going to use, and that's it. I'm going to stay with that one to be cautious. Other people think, nah, that's too early. No, I don't accept Fajr being at the time, and the whole year they haven't accepted it. So khalas, you can't force them to do that. they're going to keep with their time. No problem. He hasn't reached certainty about Fajr. And no one can reach certainty. We've got too many buildings. We can't see the horizon. We can't see the sun coming up. We can't see the break of dawn. Khalas. That's his view. He's worshipping Allah upon the yaqeen and upon the piety that he has. That's what Allah asked him to do. So do what you've been doing. Don't chop and change just because you can have more time to eat. No, not allowed. That's whims and desires, haram. Carry on with what you've been doing. You can go into the different views themselves of how they calculate it, how many degrees, etc. But even that, when you go into it, you're not going to reach a level of certainty. In the old days, they didn't have this technology. It was much more simple. You just stand up on a high building, you see it, khalas, done. Until you see that break of dawn, until it's certain, it was easy. Now we can't do it. That's why we're confused. Now,
this issue of suhoor as well, what is the issue with some people have this 10 minutes, 5 minutes before Fajr actually starts, that you have to stop eating at one time and Fajr starts at another time?
the brother's asking, some people have this 10-minute safety gap that they have. Fajr starts at this time, so 10 minutes before. The Prophet ﷺ has advised us against this. This ummah is going to be in good shape, doing well, taking the barakah of Allah, as long as it delays as far as possible, as far as correct, the suhoor. Take it right to that minute of Fajr. And it's going to be healthy in a good state until as soon as Maghrib comes, they break the fast. So this is contrary to the Sunnah and the practice of the companions, and contrary to blessings from Allah, and contrary to what keeps this ummah in good shape. So we shouldn't have this 10-minute gap. Some people do, but there's no basis for that. It's just come about because of the confusion, because of the doubt. Is it really Fajr yet or not? In the olden days, you just wait for the adhan, and when the adhan comes, stop eating. If you've got something in your hand, you finish it off. Not that you grab something else, no. You finish off what you're eating, you don't waste that. You eat it, finish it, khalas. And that's it, they stop fasting. Here we don't have adhan, we go by the clock, and everyone's clock might be differing a couple of minutes here and there, and we're in doubt, we've confused ourselves, khalas. As long as you're in a state you're not sure Fajr started, you're okay. In front of Allah, you're okay. These are issues which are minor. If a person, and this is reported from Umar radiallahu anhu, and comes from a hadith in Bukhari as well, say if a person, if it's Maghrib, the hadith is talking about Maghrib, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Asma is the, radiallahu anha, is the narrator of the hadith. They opened fast, before, they thought it was Maghrib because it was cloudy, they thought it was Maghrib, they ate. And then it turned out, they saw the sun again, so it wasn't Maghrib. They weren't ordered to repeat that fast. They did what was upon them. They carried on. They went to the time right when they thought Maghrib was, they ate. No one told them to repeat the fast. The Prophet ﷺ didn't tell them to repeat the fast. Umar, radiallahu anh, this happened to him as well. He ate when he thought it was Maghrib, and then it turned out it wasn't Maghrib, and he said, that's minor. It's a minor. Leave it. He said that. Khalas. This is Umar radiallahu anh, based on the hadith. This is what happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Same thing when it comes, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah talking about the same issue. It's the same. A little bit before, a little bit after, you're not sure. Allah forgives these minor issues. Allah's not going to take you to account for these. Allah is Ghafoor ar-Rahim, most merciful, most forgiving. An issue that's come to mind that I've been asked actually quite recently about Ramadan, to do with the sisters. When it comes to the sisters, they get confused about the issue of, when it comes to pregnancy and breastfeeding, what's the situation when it comes to fasting? Let me mention this so we minimize doubt.